I lost 40 pounds on a plant-based diet, and I've been able to keep it off for the past 4, coming up 5 years. Might even be longer than that. I always lose track of time. The other day, I thought my daughter was 8 when she was actually 9. Learning about dates is not something that I prioritize. Something I have prioritized is understanding what are the constraints to someone actually not being able to lose weight. And it's gotten to the point now where I can talk to someone, and a lot of the time, sometimes I get it wrong, but often I'll be able to see what their thought patterns are that are going to hold them back from losing weight or keeping it off, or really being able to go above and beyond the weight loss and then achieve the other things that they want to in their life. So what I'm going to share is 2 core beliefs that are going to allow you to continue to make progress towards your goals and to actually feel so much happier in the process as well. And about 6 months ago, the second thing that I'm going to show you genuinely started to change my life. And I'm telling you, I thought that I had to do things the hard way and that I just had to suck it up, buttercup. And I was most of the time unhappy. I had a lot of panic attacks over the past 4 or 5 years. I've been on anxiety medication. I've been through a lot of stress and pressure. And throughout the past 10 years of my life, my emotions have kind of been like this. Now, I'm not saying that I'm fully cured from that, but what I can tell you is that my emotional stability now is a flat line compared to what it once was. And I can meet challenges, exhaustion, stress, and difficulty with a level of poise and gratefulness that I just genuinely didn't think was possible. So the first belief pattern is using I am statements that don't serve you. This could be something like, I'm not a morning person, or I'm a night owl, I'm a binge eater, I'm an all or nothing person. The reasons that this will stop and cap your growth is that you're constantly telling yourself a story that you cannot adapt and grow. That who you are today is fixed in an identity, because I am is part of who you are, as opposed to what you do. And maybe you've heard this idea of like a limiting belief. And if we think about what that actually breaks down to, it's really any thought pattern that means that you have less options. So if you say, I am not a morning person, it's really saying that you only have one option, and that is to not be a morning person, therefore to be a night person. That is the definition of a limiting belief. What you'll start to realize is that we speak these things over ourselves constantly, which means that we're constantly confirming this idea that we are unable to adapt and grow and change. But in order to achieve great things, or really anything different from where we are today, we must be able to grow and adapt to become anything that is required to succeed. Words have so much power because whether we think we can or we think we can't, we are going to be right. And if we change the way that we speak, then we can change our beliefs, which means that we can change our behavior and therefore the trajectory of our lives. And this could be applied to really hyperbolic statements, which basically just means any kind of all or nothing statement, like never or always, or the best or the worst, or the one thing. Things like I always binge or I always cave. They're overly dramatic and tell our brains a story that we are incapable of change. So what you want to do instead is to adopt a frame that you can always learn and grow, that you are always capable of being able to adapt, because you're going to need to. Hold very loosely to any statement that limit your adaptiveness. So a frame that I use, that I've really only just started using in the last month or so, which kind of makes it easier to understand this, is that I am a naked baby. Because if you think about a naked baby, they come out of the womb, they know absolutely nothing. They're going to have to learn to walk, to talk, to crawl, probably crawling before they walk. At some point, a 5-year-old's not going to know the alphabet, and then they're going to, at some point, probably be able to read. I look at my daughter now, who has read all of the Harry Potter series and is 9, and I remember when she was first born and knew absolutely nothing. I remember when I started to try and teach her the alphabet. So if a child can learn and nothing is inherently given to you, you're a naked baby when you come out, then it means every single thing is learnable. Nothing is fixed. No behavior pattern, no thought process, and no one is an I am anything. We just can grow and learn and change. I often tell myself that, Charles, you're not special. So if someone else has learned to do what you want to, if someone else could become a morning person, maybe not even become a morning person, just get up early when they said they were going to, and go to bed on time and become organized, then you can too. Naked baby, therefore capable of change. I used to tell myself all the time that I was a hot mess and that I was super unorganized. And all that statement did was stop me from doing the work required to actually build some structure into my life. Now, pretty much every hour of my day is in my calendar. It's structured. If I say that I'm going to get up at 5, which I do, I used to say I wasn't a morning person, then I actually do it because I've learned that becoming organized or having organization in my life is actually really, really important for my success. Saying I'm a hot mess never served me. Realizing that I could learn discipline and organization means that now I have it. Even about a year ago, I remember thinking that people who got up early at, like, say 5 in the morning, they were kind of faking it. Like, this is kind of funny, but I really genuinely thought that no one could actually do that long term and like doing that. And it was unreasonable to expect myself to do the same. I'm now in a stage where I really need to get up early if I want to pack everything into my day. So I've started to get up at 5, and I've been doing this consistently, pretty much rain, hail, or shine, for the past few months. I stopped saying I'm not a morning person and instead just started to go to bed earlier, set my alarm earlier, and practice. So at this point, the only identity-based statements that I want to use are things that confirm I am capable of change and growth.
I am organized.
They're things that help me to take ownership of my decisions rather than give ownership to an identity that I cannot change, a fixed identity, like I'm a self-sabotager, I'm an all or nothing person, I'm a binge eater, I'm a food addict. I say things like I am resilient and I am capable of change, because those things serve me to become so. The way to frame things instead is to create distance from your behavior and your identity. So rather than I'm not a morning person, I haven't created a habit of getting up early yet. Rather than I'm a perfectionist, I'm learning to build a skill set of moderation so that I can make continual progress. Do you see how those things feel very, very different when you say them to yourself? I'd love to hear in the comments, what are some of the I am statements that you use when you honestly answer yourself, do they serve you? You realize that they really don't. The second thing that's been super helpful for me in a belief pattern is realizing that I can actually change the way I feel about things, that I can have some control over the emotions that I experience, which was absolutely mind-blowing to me. I always thought, well, I can change my behavior, I can suck it up, I can feel like absolute crap and do the things that I need to do. But what I've realized is that managing your emotions and changing the way that you think about your emotions means that you can actually feel better. And if you feel better about something, then you're more likely to follow through and do it. If you feel like hopping on the scales and your weight goes up is not a big deal, you're more likely to stay consistent that day. If you have a failure in your diet and you eat a whole lot of cookies and maybe you do have a binge, if you don't feel like that is all that much of a big deal, but you're able to modify your behavior, then you're more likely to see success. And there's a lot that comes into like where emotions come from and chemicals of brain and all these kind of things. And it's a complex issue. But on some level, our emotions are manageable, and it is a skill set, just like working out, just like running. It's something that we can learn. And if you watch a child have a tantrum because they didn't get the thing that they wanted, it's pretty evident that as we get older and more mature, we're able to deal with feelings of disappointment or injustice better than, say, a 5-year-old who's like pounding their fist on the ground. But then we have our own little adult tantrums where we don't talk to people for weeks. We don't see progress fast enough when we change our diets, and then we want to quit like a little crybaby. So here's some of the frames that I've learned to be able to manage my emotions better. First one comes from the Mark Manson's book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. And that is really that it's okay to feel like crap. Negative feelings are okay to experience, and we don't actually have to try to escape them, because even the process of trying to escape feelings of inadequacy or failure or disappointment, we can get stuck in this kind of feedback loop from how we feel stressed about being stressed, about being stressed, about being stressed, rather than just recognizing that, hey, like I feel a sense of stress right now, that's okay. I don't need to escape it. I don't need to medicate it. I don't need to change it. And when I say medicate, I mean go eat a cupcake. It's okay to be feeling not okay. So that's number one. Paradoxically, it does make you feel better. The second thing that I ask myself is, what is the meaning I have ascribed to this feeling? For example, something as simple as failure. And I make a lot of mistakes and I fail a ton, both in my personal life and in my business as well, and on YouTube. Like I'm just failing all over the place all the time. But did you know, this is a little side quest, that there are 4 stages of learning? The first one is unconscious incompetence. This is when we don't even know what we don't know. The second one is conscious incompetence. This is when we know that we suck and we know that we're inadequate. The third one is conscious competence, where you can do something, but you have to put a lot of effort in. And then the fourth one is unconscious competence, where something is so ingrained in you, you just do it by default and you're a master. So I used to feel terrible when I would fail because I felt like I should have known better. Now, naked baby status, I know nothing, I'm not special, I can learn and grow. When I fail, those feelings that arise of inadequacy or should have done better or anything like that are quite quickly replaced by excitement and gratitude, because I'm able to tell myself that this means that I've moved from stage one of learning, which is unconsciously inadequate, unconsciously incompetent, to now conscious of my incompetence. So it's actually like getting a huge gold star and a medal, because now I know. So failure actually a lot of the time feels fun for me now. And if you think about failure feeling fun, then I'm not going to feel sad about it. I'm actually going to be feeling pretty grateful, which is wild. So what is the meaning that we ascribe to those emotions that come up? If you hop on the scales and it's gone up and you ascribe meaning to that, then yeah, you're going to feel terrible. But if you hop on the scales and it's gone up and you go, hey, this is just data and it doesn't really matter in the short term or the long term, I'm just going to keep eating my veggies anyway because it's probably just water in my body, then you're not going to feel any of those negative things, and then you're going to be able to carry on and do what you need to do anyway. The third thing that I ask myself is, what do I want to feel? Because I can tell myself a story that changes the way I feel about something. For example, now that I get up early, there's a lot of mornings where I feel very tired, I want to click snooze, and there's a lot of things that feel stressful about my day that I don't want to get out of bed for. But I ask, well, how do I want to feel right now? And for the most part, I want to feel empowered and grateful, and I want to feel excited. So I ask myself, well, what can I tell myself in this instance so that I can feel differently and I can feel those things? So if it's gratefulness and excitement, I will start to say, hey, Charles, I'm so grateful that you have an able body, that you can get up and you are able to work out. I'm so grateful that you're not working at your cafe job anymore. You're able to go to the gym. I'm so grateful that you get to work with people that you love and that you enjoy working with and inspire you every day, and you're not working a 9 to 5. I'm so grateful that you get to develop discipline right now. And then I just tell myself enough things, enough times for the feelings to come. And then I get out of bed and I feel grateful. I heard this on a podcast recently, which I will link. It's 3 hours long. But essentially, if you are doing a difficult workout and you're on the ground, you're sweating, you're tired, your heart is beating, that feeling feels like accomplishment. It feels like, yeah, I did the mahi that I needed to, and it's amazing. But if you were to experience those same feelings driving to work in your car, you would think that you were having a heart attack. So much of the way that we interpret how we feel is based on the context that we have and the meaning that we've ascribed to things. And we can change the meaning of things. You are allowed to change the definition of what is meaningful to you, which is very, very empowering. There's so much more to this, but I think these two frames are a really good starting place if you're wanting to change your thought patterns and your behavior subsequently. So I'd love to hear in the comments, what do you take from this? What are you going to start applying? And where can you identify that the meaning that you have ascribed to something is not really the meaning that you want, and maybe you can actually change your feelings towards it. Also, I just got this tattoo and I think it looks kind of sick. That's it from me, and if you want more behavioral change stuff, I go deep into this in my podcast, so you can check that out in the description, and I'll see you next week for another video. Bye.